Hello everybody joining us today. My name is Iveta. I'm here today creating for Finnabar. Today we're going to do some decoupage on this lovely little side table that I have with Finnabar's tissue paper, and we'll use some molds from Redesign mold as well, casted in resin. And some waxes and things like that, so it's going to be a fun and interesting one. Today we have a slightly different angle. You get to see my cloth on the floor. Hi Liliana, hello. Hi Roz, hi Catherine, hello Claire. Okay, so people are joining us today. I don't have a second screen to look at the comments and stuff while I'm working, so I'm just gonna have to kind of, you know, pop over every now and then and read anything that I've missed off. So if you have a question or anything like that, then and you know I haven't seen it or anything like that, then feel free to copy and paste it again so that I can answer it for you. Hi Eileen, hi Australian house, hi Catherine, hello. Right, okay, let's get started. So let me just quickly talk you through what we have going on here on the table. So this was just an old wooden table that I acquired. So I sanded it down and I painted it with some green chalk paint. I used Annie Sloan's Amsterdam green chalk paint for the base coat. So I painted the whole thing apart from the top with the green paint, and then I dry brushed some impasto in Mana Blue. So this is the color that I used to make it kind of turn it from green to like this, what would you call this? I don't know, teal, almost like patina looking thing over here. I do have a little bit of the leg here that I'm gonna have to dry brush over again, because before the live stream yesterday I tried something. I wanted to, I thought that maybe stamps on the legs would be a good idea. So I tried a little bit and it didn't work out. It didn't look as great as I wanted it to, so I painted over with green, and I'm just gonna have to brush over with some blue later on when we go to do molded elements. But the first thing that we're going to do is, so we're going to decorate our top. I painted this with chalk paint and Finnabar's white gesso. So I used white heavy gesso for the base coat, and then some chalk paint over the top. And yeah, so let's get started. So this is the paper that I'm going to use. So it's got some lovely fishies on it. So if anybody knows the exact name of this, please put it in the comments if anybody needs to know, because as always I'm terrible with names, as you guys know, so I can't remember. I should really be writing it down. Yeah, so it's got some lovely fishies. I wanted to use this one because I haven't yet had the chance to use this one on anything, and it's just so unusual that I just, you know, I have to put it on something, and I thought this table is going to be perfect with this. So to decoupage it on, I'm going to use soft gloss gel from Finnabar. Again, it's just a gel medium. So I'm gonna put some of it on the plate. I'm going to need quite a bit. And so I have a brush here. Before I get started, I'll just check to see if I've missed anything. Hi Teresa! I love the legs. Oh yes, they were very fun to sand. Hi Catherine. Molds on the feet. Yes, so I've made some, I've casted some little molds. I don't want to add a lot on there, so I just casted these from Fleur de Lis mold. and just little elements to add some extra detail on the legs, but not a lot. Hi Leanne. It's called Nautical. Yes, that's the one. Teresa, I can always count on you. By the way, Teresa has an Etsy shop where she sells a lot of Finnabair products. So anybody in the US, you can order most of Finnabair's products from her shop. If you was interested. Sabrina, ciao, hello. Tammy, hi from Ohio, hello. Okay, right. So this is going to be interesting. I've never decoupaged like this big of a tissue paper onto something, you know, this kind of scale. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna have to. So I have a cloth here to smooth out the tissue paper. And I think I'm gonna have to stand for this to try and, right, which way are we gonna do it? Okay, so I think I'm gonna place my plate like this, adjust the paper where I want it to go. I have my cloth ready. Need to make sure that the paper is kind of semi-straight. I can never get things fully straight anyways, but you know, I can try my best. Okay, so I want this jellyfish thing, like I want to get as much of it as possible on the table because I really like it. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this part. And then I'm going to apply a little bit of the gloss medium, kind of all along the edge here. Just making sure that everything's covered. And then I place my tissue paper down. And I smooth it out like this with my cloth. So I'll smooth out there's tiny little creases in a few places, but again, Finnabair's tissue paper is very, very thin, so you kind of burnish it into the paper and you literally can't even feel it. After you've varnished your table, you're gonna have to like sand it down anyways, so after you've varnished it you won't be able to feel any creases. So now I'm gonna keep my plate on the floor and then I kind of peel back the paper very carefully. To the point that I've glued it on, and then I apply more of my soft gloss gel, and then I bring it back, hold it up like this, and again smooth it on. And we're going to repeat this process all the way. In fact, I think it might be easy if I swap sides now and I kind of do it this way. Might stand up for it. Yeah, because then I can still hold it and then have my plate close to me, so I don't have to lean down too much. So you want to do a little bit at a time so that you can kind of control the amount of paper that goes on, and it's easier to like not get that many creases, you know, when you're, especially on kind of this kind of bigger surface. If you apply too much of your glue at once, by the time you reach like the end, some of it is going to start drying out. And now we repeat the process. The hardest thing is to kind of keep the control of your own hands while you're doing this. If you're anything like me, and I know that I repeat this every single time, but if you're anything like me, I am very heavy-handed, so if I don't keep myself in check, you know, it's easy to like rip the paper or anything like that. So if you feel like you're starting to lose control of what you're doing, I would personally advise taking a little break for a minute before you carry on. So you know, you get halfway done and then you take a minute just to kind of refresh your muscles and so that you can again control yourself more while you're doing this process. So it's not like when you're doing it, you know, in these kind of little bits, you don't have to like start and then carry on all the way until the end. So if I wanted to, I could just leave this paper like this for now, you know, and then go and have a cup of tea if I needed to, and come back and carry on in a bit. Some more gloss gel. And you can just use your hand if you want to smooth out your paper, like what I'm doing with the cloth. But I personally prefer using cloths over using my hands because they are smoother. Or if you have like nails, long nails or anything, you know, accidents can happen, and I feel like a cloth can kind of help you prevent it. So once I've put the paper on, I'll come and read the comments and see if there's any questions and stuff. So if you have any, then type them in now. going to do a couple more of these now. And the paper will be on. I hope that you can hear me well, because I don't know, I'm quite far away from the camera today, so again, if you're struggling to hear me, do let me know. And so now, last bit. And let's bring this all the way down now. I'm just going over a few of these creases. And now, before I go ahead and move on to the next step, we need to seal our paper. So I'm just going to go over with some more soft gloss gel. Over the whole table, and that kind of helps glue the whole thing down again a bit more, because there could be a few spots that I have missed, or where by the time I've applied the paper on, the gloss gel has kind of dried up a little bit, you know, things like that. So this just helps seal the whole thing in. In terms of like brush strokes, as you can see, I'm going every which direction at the moment, because I'm planning to seal the whole table, turn it all completely dead flat matte, so you won't be able to see the brush strokes after the fact anyways. But of course, if you're using if you want to have a gloss table, then you want to keep your brush strokes all in one direction. Do the other half now. Okay, it is on, so I'm just going to pop my brush into some water. And let's have a look. Okay, so as you can see, the paper is on, looking very beautiful. Gosh, a lot of comments. Hi, Anna. Right, I'm not gonna scroll all the way because I can't see. holding my breath while you're doing that. Right, okay. I don't think we have any questions. If we have any questions, hi Kat. If there's any questions, then girls will help you answer them. Right, okay. So I'm going to move the table a little bit back. So now we need to let it dry before we sand the edges off and stuff. While we're waiting for the for that to dry, we can do. I can dry brush the leg where I need to dry brush it, and I can show you what I'm gonna do with the elements. With the, I'll get the mold. So this is the mold that I used to get these elements done. So these are cast in resin, as you can see on the back, they're like plastic. So I molded this border and I molded 2 of these bits. I bet you have a face of an 18-year-old. I don't know, the camera must be doing something, because I definitely don't look 18 in real life anymore. But thanks. Right, so I've casted them with resin and I painted them in the same green colour that I painted the base of the table. And then the plan is to put this thing here in the middle. And then I want to put one of these each. One of each of these kind of on the leg, like this at the bottom, just to add a little tiny little, you know, extra detail, extra touch. I don't want it to be like overly complicated, because I think these legs on this table are already beautiful enough. They don't really need any extra, you know, details to like draw the attention away from them. So the tabletop and the legs are more than enough, I personally think. Anyways, so here's what I did with the table. So it's going to be exactly the same principle as what I'm going to show you on the mold. So I squeeze out a little bit of impasto in Mana Blue, and then I have a dry natural bristle brush, and I don't have a table, so I'm gonna balance it on my leg. And so I take a little bit of, pick up a little bit of paint with my brush, dry off the excess on the plate, and then I use the brush to go over the tops. So you can do this with a normal acrylic brush, but I personally prefer natural bristle because it's harder, and so it gives you more control over where the paint is going. So if you have acrylic bristles, they are much softer, so they get into you know, creases and crevices a bit more, whereas natural bristle, it's harder, so it's stiffer, and it doesn't like bend into places as much, so it gives you more control over where you apply your paint. So they're great for dry brushing. So this is exactly what I did with the table legs as well, and it gives you a bit like of an ombre effect, but I'm not very good at like a proper ombre you know, effect. I haven't done it enough, I haven't had enough practice, but I do like dry brushing. I do it all the time, and I like a bit of a more of a grungy look. So it's, instead of blending the paint together, you kind of layer the paint instead of blending it. So that's one element done. So now it's looking a bit more like this, and as you can see, because we dry brushed over the tops, whatever paint sticks at the tops kind of stays there, and so it gives you it shows off all of the beautiful details of the elements. And so when it goes onto the table, it's going to look a part of the table. You can definitely do this before you paint your table. So if you wanted to, like what I'm doing now, I'm basically blending them together with the table. If you're doing this just for yourself rather than for you know, for a video or a class or showing somebody how to do this, then you can just, instead of doing what I'm doing, you can apply your molds onto the table first and then paint them at the same time as you paint the table. So what I'm doing now is more suited for if you want your elements to stand out or be in a different color. So if you wanted to cast some of these and then make them in a different color, or make them, you know, like really stand out, like it's a metal element rather than plastic, or rather than a part of the wooden table, then you would cast them separately, paint them separately, and then apply them onto the table once you've painted the table. Right, so now I need to do the leg here. So basically I'm doing the same thing as I did before on the elements, and I'm just kind of brushing on some paint just in a few bits here where I tried that stenciling, not stenciling, did I say stenciling earlier? Stamping technique, and I didn't really like the way that it looked, so I decided not today. Maybe another time we'll do some stamping, but today is not the day. This is not the piece for it. And so just like that, I basically, I focus mainly on the bits that kind of bow out or stick out, and then I leave like this part here kind of curves in, so I leave it, leave more green showing there. So it kind of accentuates the natural curve of the wood. And then that's it, they are ready to be glued on. So again, set this to the side. So to glue the elements down, I'm going to use Heavy Body Gel by Finnabout, which is very, very thick glue. I need a brush. I moved everything onto the floor too. Everything here. Okay, so let's put this on. So I'm going to apply the Heavy Body Gel quite thickly, so you want to kind of almost like paste it on rather than paint it on, if that makes sense. So you put it on, spread it out as much as you can. And put it on. Let's have a look, make sure that we have it the right way around. And then I'm gonna place it down, and I'm gonna press it in place and just hold it there for a minute. Okay, let's have a look. Just let it sit there for a minute. Okay, what do we have? That mold is on my list too. It's a really great mold, Claire. Hi, Nelly. Thank you, Chris. Hi, Vasilis. Elaine, hello. Thank you. Thank you, Vasilis. You know, I can't pass on blue and green. I think that must be like my favorites. Ah, Sheila, hello. Thank you. It is a very beautiful paper. I do like it. Right, okay, now let's apply these two elements as well. So I'm gonna turn the table sideways like this, so you can maybe see what's going on. I don't know. Hopefully you can see what is happening and what I'm doing. Okay, put some heavy body gel on, and then I just again place this on and kind of press it down. So I have some excess that came out, which is absolutely normal because this heavy body gel is very, very thick. So I'm just gonna kind of do this, lift it up, and I wipe away the excess. And now I'm going to go onto the other side and put the other bit on the other side. So it's just going to add a few extra interesting details, you know, so that they're not like in your face and they're not drawing attention from our beautiful legs and the beautiful fishes. But they're kind of, you know, they act as tiny little accents, which again is good to have sometimes, because not every piece has to be like, you know, like very overpowering with lots of like regal details and everything. Don't get me wrong, I do love a bit of regal details and everything, but it doesn't always have to be like that. Okay, now I just need to crawl under the table and pick out some of this heavy body gel out of here as well. Like that. Okay. And now we just kind of let them be, let them set. Scoop off some of this excess off of the brushes and put the brushes in water so that they don't get ruined. Okay, now where's my water? Now let's see if the paper is dry. The paper isn't dry, so I'm gonna have to get the heat gun out and quickly dry off at least like the edges of the paper so that I can sand them off and we can move on to the next step. So let me see if there's any questions. Favorite colors, not pink at all. No, I would have never thought that pink might be anywhere on your radar. Not at all. No, I definitely can't pass on blue and green and anything that's like sea themed or blue, like a navy blue and gold. Just always amazing combinations. With this paper, I mean, you can't go wrong with a bit of nautical, almost like patina looking colours, just to, you know, make it look more like it's from, I don't know, a shipwreck or something like that. How I wish I could get up and down off the floor like that. I don't think I've got long left, you know. It's getting harder and harder every day. I can feel it coming my way too, so don't worry. Okay, that should do, hopefully. Let's see. Okay, I have some sandpaper. Let's do the edge. So I'm just kind of, as you can see, I have my sandpaper and I'm just dragging it down. This paper does not need a lot of pressure or a lot of work because it is super thin tissue paper. So I'm just trying to be careful not to, because the angle is a bit weird and we have a bit of a curve coming out here, so I'm just trying not to scrape off too much paint with my sandpaper while I'm doing this. And then, so I'm not going to do the edges of this paper tonight in the stream because I want to seal it properly before I wax it, before I wax the edges. So I'm going to wax the legs and all of the painted parts, but the decoupaged part I'm going to seal it with heavy duty wood varnish, maybe like 4 or 5 coats of it, because I want it to be like super duper protected. And that's what I would generally recommend if you're going to decoupage any piece of furniture. I would personally recommend, rather than waxing over paper, I would recommend varnishing it, because varnish is a lot tougher, and if you're decoupaging, that means you're using some kind of paper and it's gonna need some extra protection, especially on things like tabletops. So you can wax everything else, and I know you can wax over transfers and things like that, but decoupage paper, I would personally suggest varnishing. So anyways, with regards to what I'm going to do after I've varnished it, after I've varnished it, I'm going to get some of that matte black wax from Finnabar, charcoal black, that's the one, and I'm gonna go around the edges here and just darken them up to kind of frame the paper. But everywhere else I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with the waxes in a minute. Okay, here we have this super tiny, I have a bit peeling off because I just scraped it with the sandpaper. Where's my soft gloss gel? Which is not a problem at all. There's my soft gloss gel. So I have a tiny little bit of corner here which I caught with the sandpaper. So I just get a little bit of soft gloss gel onto my plate, a little brush, and I just put a bit of gel under and over, and that's it. And so now you just want to let it rest and let it dry properly. This can also happen, you know, ideally you want to, once you've applied your decoupage paper and you've applied your glue, you want to let it dry for, you know, at least an hour or so. In fact, that's what I'm gonna do. So you can see how it's gonna look here on this side. So I'm gonna leave the rest so that I don't peel it off until like later on this evening. And we're gonna move on to the waxing part. Put the brush in water. Don't forget about that. So for waxing, I'm gonna do a white wax technique. So same as like you, well, furniture painters will know, like dark wax technique, which is where you put some dark wax on the whole thing and then you wipe away the excess and you're left with like nice shadows. I'm gonna do the exact same thing but with white wax now. So in essence, what you need to do first is you need to apply your clear wax, clear furniture wax, which in my case I'm going to be using Annie Sloan because that's what I have. I've had this tin for like, I don't know, 3-4 years now. So that's what I keep using, but you know, there's loads of different ones out there on the market. So I'm going to take a waxing brush, which is just another natural bristle brush. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here on this side of the leg, but I'm going to do this on the whole of my table, like the legs of the table. So I pick up a little bit of wax with my brush and I apply it all over the place. I kind of use this kind of round motion, and this is gonna give us a protective coat for our white wax. So I'm gonna show you on this side of the leg what I'm gonna do, and then you know, you get the gist. It's just the same thing, but like all around. So I'll put some wax. I have a tendency to put too much wax on. So like they always say, less is more when it comes to wax. And again, I'm a very heavy-handed person. So, you know, it's a bit difficult for me. So I applied some clear wax. Now I'm gonna take some white wax, and again, I have Annie Sloan white wax because that's what I've had. That's what I have. And again, a natural bristle brush. So this is a stenciling brush from Finnabair, and I again pick up a little bit of this white wax and I put it on everywhere, in all of the creases, especially in all of the creases, because that's where I want my wax to stay, like this. And so just kind of brush it on. All over the place. And then I take a cloth. Where is my cloth? Here it is. So I have a just one of those cloths, and I wipe away all of the excess. Now, if you get stuck and the coloured wax does not want to come away, just pick up a little bit of your clear wax and apply it over the top. It reactivates the coloured wax and allows you to remove the excess. But the reason why I decided to go for a white wax technique rather than a dark wax technique on the legs is because I want, oh Jesus, I want there to be a little bit more like white highlights to kind of echo the white bits or the lighter bits of the paper that we used. So I don't know if you can see very well, but we have like little bits of white here in the edges. It almost looks like I don't know, not like dust. I can't remember the word, but it's a really cool look. And obviously, as always, once I'm finished with the whole thing, you know, I'm gonna post the pictures. And then I also, apart from using clear wax and white wax, I also want to add some coloured waxes, and in my case I'm going to be using two waxes, which is Bronze Age and Vintage Gold, again from Finnabair. So first I'm going to use Bronze Age, and I'm going to squeeze out a little bit onto my plate. Take my brushes. Where's my brush? Okay. So I'll take again a stencil brush and pick up a little bit of wax. I wipe off some of the excess onto the plate, again just like a dry brushing but with waxes. Sorry, I can't read the comments today. Going to have to decorate the radiator next. Oh no! Thank you, Teresa. Alright, okay, and then so I've wiped away the excess, and then I'm gonna brush it over lightly over the legs. You want to do your coloured wax last, because if you do your coloured wax first and then apply clear wax over the top, it's going to reactivate the coloured wax, and it's going to dull it down or like wipe it away completely. So again, I'm kind of lightly brushing over like all of the bumpiest parts, so parts that stick out the most, and that way it kind of starts to look like metal, but with patina on it. So we kind of have, you know, a little bit of the blue, a little bit of the green showing through, and also the white wax, but then now that we're using the coloured waxes, it looks more like metal. And then finally, after the Bronze Age, I'm gonna take a little bit of the vintage gold, again squeeze out a little bit onto my plate, and then instead of using a brush, I'm just gonna use my finger, pick up a little bit onto my finger, and just put a little bit of gold just over the very tops of the curved parts for a tiny little bit of highlight. So just over the curved bits. I'm not going to touch the side parts because they're not curved. And yeah, and then again, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to brush over with bronze on these sides and over the molds that we just applied. I just don't want to do it just yet. Oh, yeah, because they're still a little bit like moving around a little bit, so it's not like completely stuck down yet. So I want to wait, you know, so that it doesn't like turn into a disaster. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the legs. And yeah, as I already said, I'm gonna sand off all of the edges, varnish it with heavy duty wood varnish about 5 times or so, sand it down if I need to, but the varnish that I use is dead flat finish, so you know, you won't be able to see the brush strokes or anything like that. It's going to look even regardless. And then go over these edges with some charcoal black wax from Finnabar. And that is it, really. That's all I wanted to show you guys today in this stream. So let me just quickly have a look if I've missed anything off. So the white stays in the crevices, so to speak. Yes, exactly. So the white is just kind of on the insides there. And I think, or the way that I see it, it just kind of makes the echoes the light colours of our decoupage paper. Really pops out at you. Yeah, thank you. There's me would have stuck at white, not realising. Thank you, Marisol. Can't wait to see it done. Yes, me too. Me too. I can't wait to see it done as well. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today for the stream. Hi, Belinda. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for joining in, and I will see you guys in the next stream. Bye bye.